Hello, friends. How's everybody doing? It's me, Dustin Coyle. Once again, you're tuned in to Intelligent Thoughts. This is the NBA Today for March 27th, 2019. Sorry about not being here the last couple of days. I had a little bit of family business I had to take care of, so I went on a small road trip, so I missed the last couple. I hope everything was all right with everybody else. Went well for me. But here I am back on March 27th here. Before we get started with the show, I do want to say go ahead and go like the page on Twitter, Intelligent THO, the number 1, Intelligent Tho1, on Instagram at Intelligent B Thoughts. B is the word BE in there. Or on Facebook, it's just Intelligent Thoughts. Trying to put out a little bit of content. Anybody who has any questions, concerns, or just wants to interact with the show at all, go ahead and reach me there. It'd be great to hear from you. All right, so before we get into the scores from last night, and there were quite a few of them, let's start some music. Alrighty, so the first game that we're going to get into here is between the Hornets and the Spurs in Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets in overtime, actually, after the Spurs came back in the fourth quarter, get the W. 125 to 116. Kemba Walker had 11 of his 38 points in OT. Where did he actually end up finishing at here? He finishes with 38 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists, almost a triple-double for Kemba Walker. I don't think he does that a whole lot. That's definitely a lot of rebounds for him, and then a great facilitator for him in the game. Big win for Charlotte in that one to keep them alive for the playoff hunt, and then a loss there for San Antonio, I believe, drops them to 8th spot in the West. 24 points for Dwayne Bacon as well, and then 15 points, 10 rebounds for Frank Kaminsky off the bench. The Spurs are led in scoring by DeMar DeRozan, 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists for him, 20 for 24 shooting, just 1 3-point shot overall. That's somewhere he probably needs to at least start taking some more threes, whether or not he's really that good at them or not. He shot fairly well last year, and then this year he's taken kind of a step back in the amount of threes he's been taking. Still playing, great though. Probably their best player, maybe LaMarcus Aldridge. Speaking of LaMarcus Aldridge, he finishes with 20 points and 15 rebounds in the loss as well. Marco Bellinelli, a bright point for the San Antonio Spurs, 17 points, 10 rebounds randomly for Bellinelli, and he goes 5 for 11 from downtown, drains 5 trays. Alrighty, to Cleveland, a matchup between Kyrie's team and his former team without Kyrie. The Boston Celtics beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 116 to 106 to stop a 4-game slide that they had been on. Like I said, Kyrie didn't play in the game. The leading scorer for Boston is Marcus Smart with 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for him. And Jason Tatum also 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for him. 19 points for Al Horford on just 7 for 10 shooting in the game here. As far as Cleveland, Colin Sexton continues to be their best player as of late. 24 points on 3 for 7 from downtown, 9 for 19 overall. Only 3 assists. You'd like to see that be a little bit higher, seeing as he's the point guard. But actually, Larry Nance led the team in assists with 7 off the bench. That's pretty crazy, seeing as he's a power forward. But Colin Sexton continues to look damn good, albeit in the loss in this one. Jordan Clarkson off the bench, 7 for 11 shooting, second on the team in scoring with 18 points. Okay, to Miami, a matchup here of 2 teams that were fighting for the 8th spot. The Orlando Magic win their 6th straight game and beat the Heat 104 to 99. Nikola Vucevic scores 24 points and grabs 16 rebounds in the victory. Like I said, this is 6 straight wins for the Orlando Magic. And that actually puts them in the 8th spot, a half game above a half game above Miami right now. I believe a game above Charlotte. I think only a half game behind Detroit, and then a game behind Brooklyn for 7th and 6th place, respectively. So big win here for Orlando, and they could continue to move up if they continue to play well. To go along with Vucevic's 24, Jonathan Isaac gives you 19 points for the Orlando Magic in this one as well. 17 points for DJ Augustine. For Miami, they're led in scoring with 26 points for Dion Waiters, 5 for 11 from downtown. Good shooting night there for him. And 22 points off the bench for Dwayne Wade on 7 for 17, 2 for 5 from downtown. Also chips in with 7 rebounds and 7 assists. Really good all-around game in 29 minutes off the bench for D. Wade, albeit not enough to get the victory here. To Toronto. The second-place Toronto Raptors, who have not been playing terribly well lately, beat the Chicago Bulls 112-103. They are led in scoring with 20 points off the bench from Norman Powell. He goes 8 for 10 from the field and 4 for 5 from downtown to get the victory in this one. And as far as the starting lineup, there's a tie for the leading scorer in the starting lineup between Kawhi and Kyle Lowry, 14 points each. Pretty small game. As a matter of fact, they dominated the majority of the game, as their bench actually played more minutes than anybody in their starting roster here. Good overall win for the Toronto Raptors. And as far as the Chicago Bulls are concerned, they're led in scoring with 20 points from Wayne Selden in the starting lineup. He gives 40 minutes at the shooting guard position. And they also get 15, 5, and 5 from Shelby Harris. Not the best game here. Looked like Zach LaVine didn't play because of a right thigh contusion. Chris Dunn still out with a strained back. Not a lot to look forward to here for the Chicago Bulls. Lauri Markkanen, 10 points and 9 rebounds. All right, to Milwaukee in a game that was pretty good to watch. Houston led real early into the game in the first quarter, and then come the second and the third quarter, the game changed quite dramatically. Milwaukee gets the victory, 108-94. Eric Bledsoe actually leads the Milwaukee Bucks in scoring. He finishes with 23 points, 7 assists. Giannis finishes with 19 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. How about some Pat Connaughton action off the bench? 14 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists for Connaughton, 4 for 5 from downtown. He's actually an underrated player. Probably going to be able to help the Milwaukee Bucks in the stretch run. Definitely first round of the playoffs with Malcolm Brogdon being out. I think he might have a lot to do for Milwaukee in that one. As far as Houston, they're led in scoring by James Harden. Overall, pretty tough night. 9 for 26 from the field, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. So less points than shots. Just 1 for 9 from downtown. You combine that with Eric Gordon 0 for 5. PJ Tucker 1 for 8 from downtown. Not the best game overall for the Houston Rockets. Second place in scoring for him is going to be Chris Paul. 19 points for him, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. And Clint Capella with 17 and 11 also. Okay, in Minnesota, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves losing to the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers actually clinch a playoff spot, guarantee in this one, even though I think it was pretty much a guarantee before, but now it's official. They win the game 122-111. Danilo Gallinari leads the way for the Clippers with 25 points, 10 rebounds, adds 4 assists there, 6 for 9 from downtown for Danilo Gallinari, and just 1 for 7 from the 2-point range, but still a great game for Danilo. And then off the bench, Lou Will, 20 points and 7 assists in 30 minutes to get the victory. A real good game. Every single player played for the Clippers. This game wasn't really that close, even though it was just an 11-point game. Realistically, it wasn't that close. And every player also played for Minnesota in this one. They were led in scoring by Karl Anthony Towns, 24-point, 13-rebound performance. That's going to be added with 2 for 7 from downtown, not the greatest. Andrew Wiggins, 2 for 3 from downtown, 9 for 21 overall. He finishes with 22 points in 35 minutes in the loss. The Hawks go on the road and beat the New Orleans Pelicans. Trae Young records his 24th double-double. He finishes with 33 points and 12 assists on the road. Huge game Didn't have to deal with Jrue Holiday, but still a big, big game for him. Makes 5 threes, 5 for 13 from downtown, and leads the Hawks, who've been playing damn well lately, to a victory on the road. Second place in scoring is going to be a combination of Dwayne Dedmon with 18 points, 9 rebounds in this one, and DeAndre Bembry, who finishes with 18 points as well, 6 rebounds for him in the victory. In the loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are led in scoring by Christian Wood off the bench, 7 for 9 shooting. He actually finishes with 23 points and 9 assists. That's not true. Never mind. Julius Randle leads the way, 24 points, 9 rebounds on 7 for 13 shooting in the starting lineup there for Julius. Not good enough to get the win, though. Anthony Davis does not play in this one due to the back spasms issues. Other than that, a relatively rough game for the Pelicans. Tough defense, giving up 130 points in 4 quarters to the Atlanta Hawks nonetheless. Okay, in Dallas, the Sacramento Kings come back in the fourth quarter to beat the Dallas Mavericks 125-121. They're led in scoring by De'Aaron Fox's 23 points, 8 assists, 5 rebound game in 32 minutes there in the starting lineup. Buddy Hield also gives you 17 points and 3 3-pointers, not his best shooting game overall. Harrison Barnes, 18 points and 3 3-pointers also in the win. For Dallas, they're led by a big triple-double from Luka Doncic, 28 point, 12 rebound, 12 assist triple-double, although 0 for 9 from downtown. Really tough. 9 for 20 overall shooting. So, he went 9 for 11 from the 2-point range, but 0 for 9 downtown. Really rough shooting performance there, and probably the reason that they lost in the end of the game, but still a big game for Luka Doncic. Dwayne Powell also gives 21 points and 13 rebounds on just 6 for 7 shooting. Really efficient game there for Powell. And to Denver. This game shouldn't have been close at all. Let me do the math here. The Nuggets were up by 27 points at halftime. They end up winning by 3, 95-92 over the Detroit Pistons. And it was really a late shot by Jamal Murray that ended up getting the victory for for Denver in this one. Murray finishes with 33 points, 3 for 7 from downtown, 5 assists also. Jokic, 23 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 for 5 from downtown for him. And then what should have been a blowout, where they play only 8 players, ends up being a close game, albeit a victory, a much-needed victory here in this one. That would have been a huge loss for Denver at home. And a huge win for Detroit on the road. I think Detroit's now lost 3 straight games. And like I said earlier, I think they're only a half game up on Orlando for the 8th spot in the East right now. For the Detroit Pistons, they're led in scoring by Blake Griffin, 29 points, 15 rebounds, but it did take him 32 shots to get 29 points and just 2 for 10 from downtown. Really tough overall game there for Blake Griffin, but he managed to scrap and get the team back in the game at least during the third and fourth quarter. They also get 13 points and 17 rebounds out of Andre Drummond, 17 points from Reggie Jackson. And the final game of the night, the Lakers finally do well again. They get a victory at home over the Washington Wizards, 124-106. LeBron James with a big double-double, 23 point, 14 assists, 7 rebound performance. He leads the way for the Lakers. Well, actually, he doesn't. Caldwell Pope with 29 points. He leads the way overall, but Caldwell Pope with a 29 point. He actually is the leading scorer for the Lakers in this one. He makes 6 3-pointers as well. How about a big game from JaVale McGee on 9 for 11 shooting? He finishes with 20 points and 15 rebounds. Let's check out some of the defensive statistics here for JaVale. 2 steals and 4 blocks. So big game for JaVale McGee. Good to see him playing well in that victory there. For the Washington Wizards, they're led in scoring by Bradley Beal, 32 points, 10 for 19 from shooting, 2 for 7 from downtown. Pretty average there, but does get a lot of free throws and ends up with 32 points. Big game for him. And then how about Jabari Parker off the bench? 18 points, 5 rebounds in 30 minutes off the bench. And Bobby Porter also into double figures, just 10 points for Bobby Portis, though. Everybody else in single figures or single digits for the Washington Wizards in this one. Okie doke. Let's now talk about Wednesday's action here. Alrighty, so